Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. Let's go ahead and get into this. So for this week, I'm going to be on vacation. And I wanted to put out a video pretty much every day this week. We got minicamp coming up. I'll also put up some videos about the NFL, just regular general videos. And I expect to record this in a podcast format, meaning that I'm going to record this video. It's going to be probably a 40-minute video, 35, 40 minutes. I'm going to spread these segments out. So you might see this and the format may look a little different as these videos go up. But these videos will all be pre-recorded. So all of these are going to be recorded pretty much on the same day. And they'll be spread out this week. And I'll be back on Sunday or early next week to kind of pick up as normal. So if things look different, it's because I'm recording this in sort of a podcast format. So the first topic I wanted to get into was mandatory minicamp. And mandatory minicamp starts up tomorrow. And I would just say the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is Cadarius Toney. Cadarius Toney played a little bit in the rookie minicamp. He had the whole shoe debacle, the whole thing where he was missing a shoe. Because I guess they had him the wrong size shoe on one of those feet. He ended up getting that worked out, but he looked pretty explosive in those couple of days. He looked pretty good. He looked comfortable. People made compliments, compliments about how well he was performing for, just a rookie minicamp. He looked like a leader, and all of that was good. But we didn't get to see him in OTAs at all because his contract was not signed, and a lot of people are mad that he didn't go and sign that contract or, that he wasn't there even though he didn't sign a contract. But the thing is, why would he risk getting an injury without a contract? It makes perfect sense to make sure you get that deal done and then come in, be a participant. So I'm expecting him. I mean, it's mandatory. So I would expect him to be here starting tomorrow on June 8th. And I want to see how he looks. And these early offseason things, you can't really take away much. You're pretty much just going to see how he looks, see how he's performing, and how he's moving around. Does he look as explosive as he did in college? Does he get in the open field a couple of times and juke some people out? Well, hopefully he doesn't, juke one of our defensive players out and hurt them. But does he look the same as he looked on tape in the NFL? Now, again, they're not going to be going 1,000% here. It's a lot of install, but it's just going to show. He's also going to get a chance to build chemistry with this quarterback. I can't wait to see that. He's going to get a chance to, for the first time, learn from some of these veteran NFL receivers. So Cadarius Toney should be able to jump right in, get his feet wet, show us a little bit of what he can do. Maybe we'll see him a little bit on the kick return game. They do practice that. We'll see him, what kind of play designs do they run for him. And that's pretty much my second aspect of what I'm excited about for minicamp this year. I'm excited to see what kind of play design we see. We brought in Russ Callaway from LSU. He was one of the people that helped that year in 2019 where Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and everybody else, Moss, everybody else was putting up all of these points, all of these yards. Russ Callaway was a part of that offense. He was part of designing that offense. So he's here. You got Rob Sell here. He was an offensive coordinator. You got Freddie Kitchens here, former offensive coordinator or former play caller and also head coach. So there are a ton of minds here along with Jason Garrett to kind of come up with an offense specifically catered to our players. This time we have a full offseason, and I'm going to hold Joe Judge to his word that he wants to design an offense and defense that fits the players that we have. Last year, you can make an excuse because the offense, I don't think, fit the players that we had. But this time, we have a full offseason. We're going to have people like Kadarius Toney who need to be used in that screen game. You got to get him in open space. Sterling Shepard, you got to use him in the slot. You got to use him in those kind of intermediate routes. Use deeper routes to get him open underneath. And then Kenny Golladay, he's a 50-50 guy. He's a contested catch guy. He's a big body guy, so you can use him on all of those generic kind of routes and just let him use his physical talent his raw talent to kind of make plays there. And then, Darius Slayton and John Ross, they're going to be the field stretchers. But we'll see how they design this offense and how it fits the players that we have. I'm really excited to see how that turns out. And, of course, we aren't going to see, like, their deepest, darkest secrets in minicamp. I mean, that's just not going to happen. But we will catch a little bit of a glimpse. Also want to see, how do they use Devontae Booker? How do they use Gary Brightwell? How do they use all of these players? Are they running some option? Because sometimes they do that in minicamp. Are they running some option with Daniel Jones? Is it no option? Do we see anything new that kind of gives us hope going into this upcoming season? I'm very excited to see what happens there in minicamp. And then the last thing I'm excited about for minicamp, the matchups between wide receivers and corners. I cannot wait. I mean, the offensive line and defensive line, you cannot evaluate. I'm really excited about Ellerson Smith and Ojulari, but you cannot evaluate defensive and offensive line when there's no contact or when there's no official contact, because they're not going to be putting on shells. You're not going to be putting on pads. So you can't evaluate there. You cannot evaluate. So you can evaluate wide receivers and corners. In that case, you look at Cadarius Williams, and I'm starting with our last corner we drafted. You look at him. You look at Aaron Robinson. You look at Darnay Holmes, guys that we already have. James Bradbury, everybody that we already have, and Adoree Jackson. And then you add that we've taken Cadarius Toney in the first round. We went and got Kenny Golladay. We went and got John Ross. So how does James Bradbury fare against Kenny Golladay? How does James Bradbury fare against Cadarius Toney? How does Cadarius Toney fare against, a James Bradbury or Adoree Jackson? It'll be great to see, one of your young receivers like a Cadarius Toney make a play against what I believe is one of the best corners, or probably one of the best secondaries in the league. So that back and forth is going to make both sides better. I think we have two strengths there that we're really building, especially in the secondary, and that's going to make our receivers a lot better than they would have been without that help and that extra push from the cornerbacks. Overall, OTAs and minicamp are pretty much just off-season stuff. They're just for the off-season. They're just about building chemistry. You've seen times like Daniel Jones taking Kyle Rudolph, or I don't know if he took him there, but Daniel Jones and Kyle Rudolph at the Knicks game. You see all of these players hanging out together. So it's just about building chemistry. I like the way we're going, the direction we're going in, and high participation in this mandatory minicamp is only going to help things out. So mostly I'm just excited for these guys to take that off the field chemistry that they've been building, transfer it onto the field. This way, Adoree Jackson will know what James Bradbury is doing. Logan Ryan will know exactly what Xavier McKinney and Jabril Peppers are doing, but they already know that. So it's more about working guys like Adoree Jackson and guys like Aaron Robinson into that secondary. The same thing with the receivers. They'll know what other receivers are doing. Daniel Jones will know, how Kadarius Toney likes to run these routes. Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay will know how Daniel Jones likes for them to run each route. So it's going to be really about building chemistry, building that camaraderie, which I already think we're at a great start of doing. And minicamp, man, this is our last taste of Giants football until training camp. So I'm definitely going to save it. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.